There are nights when the divine feminine lies awake beneath the quiet hum of the world, unsure of why sleep will not come. Her body is still, yet her spirit stirs, as if something unseen is whispering her name. The air feels heavy with invisible movement, energies rearranging, messages traveling through the unseen threads that bind her to the divine masculine. It is not anxiety she feels, but an ancient call echoing from beyond time. This restlessness is not punishment, but preparation. The soul does not awaken through comfort. It awakens through the gentle discomfort of expansion. The divine feminine feels this within her chest, a tug that asks her to look deeper, to trust what cannot yet be seen. Though her mind searches for reason, her heart knows that the night carries meaning. Something is shifting, both within and beyond her. Often, this feeling comes when her energy is being attuned to higher frequencies. Her guides are aligning her vibration with new levels of awareness, and her body senses the transition. She may feel waves of warmth, sudden emotion, or the need to be alone. All are signs that she is being prepared for a new stage of her journey. The divine feminine's heart is a compass that responds to the unseen movements of destiny. When she feels restless, it is because her energy recognizes what her mind has not yet understood. Change is near. The masculine may not be physically present, yet his soul is moving closer in resonance. In the silence of night, the two energies communicate without words, through feelings, intuition, and dreams. The invitation now is to surrender, to trust that restlessness does not mean something is wrong, but that something is awakening. Rather than resisting the feeling, she is asked to listen, to breathe deeply, to place a hand on her heart and whisper, "I am ready to receive." In that quiet acceptance, peace begins to unfold. The divine feminine learns that her restlessness is the language of her higher self, guiding her toward alignment. Each sleepless night becomes a bridge between what she was and what she is becoming, a sacred threshold where transformation begins not with answers, but with surrender. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when life seems to slow to an inexplicable halt. The signs that once flowed so clearly now feel distant or muted, as if the universe itself has placed a red light on your path. For the divine feminine, this pause often feels like a contradiction. Her soul burns with purpose, yet nothing around her seems to move. Her masculine counterpart may be silent or withdrawn, her dreams uncertain, her next steps unclear. The natural impulse is to push forward, to find solutions, to seek clarity, but the red light appears not as a punishment, but as sacred protection. Behind every pause is divine orchestration. The universe is not denying progress, it is realigning energy. What seems like stillness in the physical world is often immense movement in the unseen. The angels, guides, and higher realms are weaving new timelines, redirecting paths, and preparing both souls for the next level of connection. Just as the seed must rest in the darkness before it sprouts, this stillness is the incubation of destiny. During these pauses, the divine feminine is called to remember that she is not abandoned, she is being repositioned. The stillness asks her to return to her own center, to reconnect with her essence rather than the external outcome. It invites her to slow down, to breathe, to trust that there is divine wisdom in waiting. When she resists, the anxiety grows. When she surrenders, the red light turns into a lantern, softly illuminating the next small step rather than the entire road ahead. The mind, conditioned to measure worth through action, struggles with this phase. It whispers, "You are stuck," or "Nothing is happening." but the soul knows better. True transformation often takes place beneath the surface, quietly, invisibly, and powerfully. The red light is the soul's way of saying, pause. Let the universe catch up to your vibration. In these moments, patience becomes the highest act of faith. It is easy to trust when things are moving. It is divine to trust when everything stands still. The feminine learns that her energy is magnetic, not forceful. She does not need to chase or convince. She only needs to align. The waiting becomes sacred when she uses it to nourish herself, to deepen her intuition, and to strengthen her connection with Source. Meanwhile, the divine masculine is also being worked on behind the scenes. His lessons are unfolding in silence, guided by the same divine intelligence that placed the pause in her path. The delay she perceives is actually synchrony. His soul is being prepared to meet hers in higher awareness. When the light finally turns green, it will not be because she forced it, but because the alignment is complete. Until then, the red light is her guardian. It reminds her that divine timing cannot be rushed, and that even apparent stillness carries the hum of creation. The pause is not the end of the road, it is the breath between heartbeats, the quiet before renewal. In learning to honor it, the divine feminine discovers the grace of allowing, an art that transforms waiting into wisdom and stillness into light. Long before this lifetime, before the stars aligned in your favor and the earth called your name again, your soul had already known what it would face here. You are not a new traveler in this realm. You are an ancient one. You have walked through centuries, through different skies and languages, through lifetimes filled with lessons of love, loss, and wisdom. The divine feminine who breathes in this era carries the memory of temples, gardens, and sacred fires. Her heart remembers rituals long forgotten by the world, and her spirit recognizes the vibration of truth even when the mind cannot explain it. Choosing to return was not an easy decision. There was hesitation, even resistance. After many lifetimes of effort and growth, your soul had reached a high frequency, a state of peace and understanding that did not require more human lessons. And yet, when the call went out for those who could help Earth transition into a higher vibration, your soul answered. You chose to come back not because you needed healing, but because the planet needed your light. The density of this world can feel heavy to such a refined spirit. The noise, the distractions, the chaos of human emotion, all can feel foreign to you. Many who carry this ancient energy often feel out of place, misunderstood, or deeply tired without knowing why. This exhaustion is not simply physical. It is the memory of lifetimes lived in service, of countless incarnations spent helping others awaken. You may feel tension in your body, sensitivity to sound or light, or a longing for quiet places where you can breathe and remember who you truly are. But even in this fatigue, there is purpose. You came not to escape the world, but to anchor higher consciousness within it. Every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, every time you choose peace over conflict, you bring heaven a little closer to earth. You are a bridge between dimensions, a living channel through which love flows into the human experience. This remembrance often awakens gradually. It might come through dreams of ancient lands, an attraction to certain historical eras, or an unexplainable connection to sacred symbols. You may find yourself drawn to the simplicity of nature, gardens, stars, handmade things, because they carry the same timeless rhythm your soul remembers. As you embrace your ancient essence, something within begins to settle. You realize that the loneliness you once felt was not a curse, but a sign of your depth. Few can understand the frequency you carry because you came ahead of your time. Yet as more souls awaken, you will find your tribe, others who speak the silent language of light and remember the same truth. Your return is a sacred offering. You came to remind the world of what it once knew, that love is eternal, that peace is our natural state, and that every soul, no matter how lost, can find its way home again. There comes a moment in every awakened soul's journey when she realizes that her light, though pure and healing, can also be unsettling to those still learning how to see. The divine feminine often walks through this paradox. She is both adored and misunderstood, embraced and rejected. Her presence carries the frequency of truth, and truth has a way of shaking what is not ready to be transformed. From an early age, she may have felt different. Her emotions were deeper, her perceptions sharper, her sense of connection to others stronger than words could describe. She loved intensely, felt pain profoundly, and often couldn't understand why others didn't seem to feel as deeply. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is the echo of an ancient soul that remembers unity in a world still learning separation. Because her energy vibrates at a higher frequency, it mirrors back to others, their own shadows. When she enters a room, people feel something awaken within them, sometimes inspiration, sometimes discomfort. Her energy stirs the unhealed parts of those around her, and while some are drawn to her light, others may pull away, unable to face what it reveals within themselves. This has caused her to question her worth, to wonder if she is too much, too intense, or too open. But her depth is not a flaw. It is her mission. The light she carries is not meant to be dimmed to make others comfortable. It was designed to illuminate what has been hidden, to guide others back to their own truth. The divine feminine is the mirror of awakening, the spark that ignites remembrance in sleeping hearts. Every soul she touches is invited to rise, to see beyond illusion, to remember love. Yet the path of light is rarely easy. There are seasons of loneliness when her brightness seems to separate her from others. There are moments when she hides her true self, fearing judgment or rejection. But the universe whispers, "Do not shrink." The discomfort others feel is not your burden to carry. It is their invitation to grow. The world has long misunderstood radiant souls. Even the brightest stars are often unseen in daylight. But their purpose remains unchanged, to guide, to inspire, to remind the lost that light still exists. The divine feminine must learn to honor her radiance without apology, to stand in her truth even when it is inconvenient for others. When she accepts that her light is meant to awaken, not to please, something shifts within her. The loneliness fades, replaced by quiet strength. She understands that being too much simply means being fully alive. And in that authenticity, she gives silent permission for others to shine too. Her light is not too much for the world. It is exactly what the world has been waiting for. Every encounter carries purpose, even the ones that seem brief or incomplete. The divine feminine often wonders why certain people enter her life only to leave suddenly, why connections that feel so deep must end before they have fully bloomed. But in truth, her relationships are rarely random. They are sacred exchanges of energy, moments where souls recognize each other across time and space. She is not here to possess or be possessed. She is here to plant seeds. Her energy is fertile ground for transformation. When she loves, she does so with the full force of her being open, honest, and pure. Her presence alone awakens what lies dormant in others. Those who meet her, even briefly, are forever changed, though they may not realize it immediately. Her laughter, her compassion, her words all carry codes of remembrance that stir sleeping hearts. She does not always witness the results of her impact, but her vibration continues to echo in the lives she touches. Sometimes this gift feels like a curse. People are drawn to her light, but few can stand close to it for long. Some pull away, not out of malice, but because her energy accelerates their growth. Her love acts like a mirror, reflecting their potential as well as their wounds, and when they are not ready to face themselves, they retreat. The divine feminine must learn to see these departures not as rejection, but as sacred timing. Each soul must awaken in its own season. Her connections are karmic threads being completed. Many of these souls are companions from past lives, returning briefly to finish unfinished lessons or to receive one final spark before continuing their paths. To her, it might look like loss, but in the spiritual sense, it is fulfillment, a cycle completed, a contract closed with grace. In this realization, the divine feminine finds peace. She begins to understand that her role is not to hold everyone who crosses her path, but to bless them as they go. Some seeds take years to sprout. Some will bloom in the quiet corners of someone's future, long after she has gone. Her task is simply to plant with love and let go without fear. What she gives is never wasted. Her energy travels through time, resonating in the hearts of others, like a soft echo of remembrance. Those who once felt her love may one day awaken, realizing that it was her light that first stirred them toward their own truth. To be the planter of seeds is to trust in divine timing. The divine feminine's power lies not in holding on, but in allowing her presence to ripple outward, unseen yet eternal. She is the reminder that love, once given freely, never fades. It only grows, quietly, in the souls of others. There is a moment in the journey when absence becomes its own form of presence. The divine masculine begins to feel a pull he cannot name, a quiet ache that stirs when the world around him falls silent. The divine feminine, once visible and reachable, has stepped back into her sacred space. She is no longer chasing, no longer seeking validation. Her energy has shifted from longing to alignment, and this change sends ripples through the invisible bond that connects their souls. He feels her, even in the emptiness. In a crowded room, in the middle of the night, her memory moves through him like a forgotten melody. He checks her social media, perhaps out of habit, only to find nothing new or maybe nothing at all. The mystery of her disappearance draws him deeper into reflection. What once was easy to overlook has now become impossible to ignore. In her silence, she speaks the loudest. The divine feminine's withdrawal is not a strategy, it is evolution. By turning inward, she reclaims her energy from the external world and focuses it on her growth. The masculine senses this change on a level beyond logic. Though he may not understand spirituality or energy in the same way, his soul feels the shift. Something within him begins to awaken the awareness that he has lost connection, not to a person, but to a frequency that once mirrored his higher self. In his search, he becomes restless. He tries to fill the void with distractions, conversations, or the company of others, but nothing feels the same. The vibration that once felt alive through her presence now echoes as a haunting emptiness. What confuses him most is that her absence feels more tangible than her presence ever did. He begins to realize that connection is not measured by proximity, but by resonance. This invisible search is part of his awakening. Her silence acts as a mirror, reflecting his own disconnection from his higher purpose. Through missing her, he begins to miss himself, the part of him that recognized love as sacred, not transactional. The longing that grows inside him is not only for her, but for the version of himself he glimpsed when he stood in her light. Meanwhile, the divine feminine remains at peace. She no longer needs to be seen to be felt. Her energy, refined through surrender, radiates effortlessly through the ether. She trusts the bond without needing to control its outcome. The masculine's search is his initiation, his way of learning that true connection cannot be pursued through sight or possession, it must be remembered through soul. In time, the invisible search becomes a sacred journey inward for both. She learns that silence is her power. He learns that absence can be the greatest teacher. Between them, across the unseen distance, love continues to move quiet, patient, and eternal. There is a sacred difference between letting go and giving up. One comes from love, the other from despair. The divine feminine, after countless cycles of waiting, hoping, and reaching for the connection that once felt like home, finally begins to understand this truth. She does not close her heart in defeat, she opens it wider in faith. Letting go is not abandonment of love, it is the highest act of trust in divine timing. For so long, she believed that to love meant to hold on tightly to nurture, to fight, to keep the thread alive no matter the distance. But love that is true does not require control. It flows like a river, finding its own course through valleys and stones. The more she tried to guide it, the more resistance she felt. Until one day, her spirit whispered, "You cannot carry what must learn to walk on its own." And in that quiet revelation, she released her grip. Letting go is not the end of connection, it is the transformation of it. When she surrenders, she no longer seeks to change the outcome or awaken the masculine before his time. She allows his soul the freedom to rise in its own rhythm. She stops trying to be the reason for his growth and becomes the space where growth can happen. In this surrender, she reclaims her energy from the future and brings it home to the present moment. There is a deep peace that follows true release. It is not the absence of feeling, but the purification of it. The divine feminine learns to love without expectation, to bless without needing a return. She understands that every soul must find its own way back to love, and that includes her own. By stepping out of the pattern of pursuit, she steps into the grace of alignment. The divine masculine, even if unaware, feels this energetic shift. The weight of her attachment has lifted, and in its place remains a quiet, magnetic strength. What once felt like a chase now feels like a calling. Her energy no longer says, "Come back to me," but rather, "Rise with me." And that vibration awakens something within him, a remembrance of his own divinity. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means trusting that what is meant for you cannot be lost, only transformed. The thread between their souls does not break. It simply becomes invisible for a time, carried by the current of divine order. In this sacred surrender, the divine feminine discovers her truest power. She realizes that her worth was never tied to being chosen, and her love was never meant to be confined to one story. Letting go becomes her liberation. Through it, she learns that real love does not demand possession, it asks for faith. And faith, once fully embraced, is the bridge that brings all things back into harmony. Time is the quiet architect of all that unfolds between souls. It stretches and bends, weaving invisible threads through every encounter, every silence, every return. The divine feminine has learned, through tears and awakening, that nothing true is ever lost, only rearranged by divine timing. Time is not her enemy, it is her ally, a gentle force that allows love to mature, heal, and realign in ways her mind could never orchestrate. After the long seasons of longing and release, she begins to see that everything happened as it was meant to. The distance, the silence, the unanswered questions, all were part of a greater rhythm. The universe was never denying her. It was preparing her. Each delay, each detour refined her energy, strengthening her heart and deepening her wisdom. She no longer needs to rush toward the future because she trusts that what is meant for her will arrive precisely when her soul is ready to receive it. The divine masculine, too, is moving through his own evolution. Time works on him differently through lessons, solitude, and the quiet ache of realization. What once confused or frightened him begins to make sense. He starts to see that the love he tried to forget was never ordinary. It was a mirror, showing him the version of himself he was always meant to become. As he grows into that truth, the space between them transforms from separation into alignment. The beauty of divine timing is that it honors free will and spiritual growth at once. It waits patiently for both souls to rise to the same frequency. Until then, the connection remains suspended in grace, untouched by distance or circumstance. The divine feminine no longer prays for a specific outcome. She prays for divine order. She releases her timeline and embraces the eternal now, knowing that time itself is love's greatest teacher. When the moment of reunion arrives, whether in this lifetime or another, it will not be forced or uncertain. It will feel natural, like two rivers meeting after long journeys through different lands. Until that day, she walks in peace, carrying the quiet, knowing that time reveals all truths. What is aligned with love always finds its way home. And in the end, time does not take love away. It simply teaches the heart how to recognize it when it returns. If this message spoke to your heart, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story and reflections help others on their own twin flame and spiritual awakening journey. Remember to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next message of light and healing. Your presence here is part of this collective awakening, and every comment, every word of love helps this energy grow. With love and gratitude, thank you for being here. See you in our next video, where we'll continue walking together through the sacred path of love, awakening, and divine reunion.